Hi everyone, welcome back. It's Gio for footballbook.ca. This is week 8 of the 2011 NFL season. I was 2 for 2 with my ATS picks again last week. Let's get right to the picks. The first game we're going to look at is Washington going against Buffalo. This game is going to be played in Toronto at the Rogers Centre. The Redskins are going in the wrong direction. They've lost 2 straight games. They've given up on quarterback Rex Grossman and have started John Beck last week, and they're going to start him again. Now, the thing is, Rex Grossman had pneumonia this week, and he was hospitalized. And after him, I don't know if there's another quarterback on that roster. If something happens to Beck, this team could be in a lot of trouble. They've lost 5 starters over the last 2 games, including wide receiver Santana Moss and running back Tim Hightower. Buffalo's really well rested, and they have a high-octane offense led by quarterback Fitzpatrick and their running back Fred Jackson. I think they'll get to an early lead here, and what might happen is that trying to catch up, the Redskins might get into interception problems. Buffalo leads the league in pick sixes so far with 3, and that alone will cover the spread. Let's take Buffalo -6. Game number 2 has Cleveland going to San Francisco, where the Niners are 9.5-point favorites at home. The Browns' offense is dreadful. Their 3-3 record is very misleading. Let me throw a couple of numbers at you. San Francisco is number 2 in the league in points allowed, and they're number 5 in points scored. Meanwhile, the Browns are number 27 in both points scored and points allowed. This is one elite team playing a non-elite team. A little side note, wide receiver Braylon Edwards comes back this week for San Francisco. He was drafted by Cleveland, and I'm sure he'd like to stick it to his old team. Let's take the Niners -9.5. Our third game has Dallas going to Philadelphia for the Sunday Nighter, where the Eagles are 3.5-point favorites at home. Now, the Cowboys have actually beaten the Eagles twice in a row in Philadelphia. And apart from last week's rout of St. Louis, where Dallas stomped all over the Rams, they haven't played a game that's been settled by more than 4 points all year. Philadelphia happens to be number 1 running the ball, but Dallas is number 1 stopping the run, and usually this tends to favor the defense. Almost all the trends point to Dallas covering, including in the last 5 games, the Cowboys are 5-0 against the spread in this series and 5-2 in Philadelphia, and the underdog is 10-4 against the spread in the last 14 games. If it was more than a field goal, I disagree, but it's over that 3-point number. It's 3.5. Take Dallas plus 3.5 points. And our fourth game is the Monday Nighter, as San Diego goes into Kansas City, where the Chargers are 3.5-point favorites on the road. These 2 teams have already met this year, with San Diego winning at home by 3 points. What they're doing is they're asking San Diego to now beat them again by more than 3 points in Kansas City. And I don't think that's going to happen. Let's take a look at some of the other teams that San Diego has beaten. They've beaten Minnesota with a 1-6 record, Denver who are 2-4, and the winless Miami Dolphins who are 0-6. Combined, those teams are 3-16. I don't see why the Chargers are favored here. They're coming off a loss. Meanwhile, Kansas City has won 3 games in a row after a very slow start. The Chargers are 4-9-1 against the spread in Kansas City in the last 15 games. So let's take the Chiefs plus 3.5. Here are my 4 over-under plays. Once again, I was 2-2 last week. The first game we're going to look at has Minnesota going to Carolina. The number there is 47.5. Christian Ponder started for Minnesota last week and put up a lot of numbers against a pretty good Green Bay defense. Meanwhile, Cam Newton has been piling up the offensive numbers on every team. Also, these teams are 26th and 28th defensively. I see a lot of points being scored here. Let's take over the 47.5. Game number 2 has New England at Pittsburgh. The number is 50.5 there. I know that New England has the number 1 scoring offense in the NFL, but Pittsburgh's number 3 defensively. Pittsburgh's gone on a pretty unusual trend. They've gone over, under, over, under, over, under, over. So that means that this week they're due for an under. This game has huge playoff implications for the AFC. The winner of this game will probably have a foothold on the number 1 spot in that conference. This game looks like more like a chess match than a high-scoring game. Let's take under 50.5. Game number 3 has Jacksonville going to Houston, where the number is 41. The Jags are 31st in scoring, and they might have a bit of a letdown after their Monday Night Football shocker against Baltimore. The Titans, meanwhile, are 25th in scoring. 6 of 7 of Jacksonville's games have gone under the number, while 5 of 7 of Tennessee's have gone under the number. Let's take under 41. And the fourth game we'll look at has New Orleans going to St. Louis, where the number is 48. And like Pittsburgh, New Orleans has followed the same trend. They've gone over, under, over, under, over, under, over. So they're due for an under this week. St. Louis, meanwhile, has only played one game that's gone over their number. They can't score. And meanwhile, New Orleans is averaging 10 points less on the road than they're averaging at home. So let's take under 48 in that game. Here are my straight-up picks for the week. So far, teams coming off of a bye are actually 3-9 straight up. But I think that's going to change this week. A lot of those teams were pretty bad, or they were playing really good teams. The first game we're going to look at has Indianapolis, poor Indianapolis, going to Tennessee, where I don't think the Titans will lose 2 in a row at home, and besides, Indianapolis is really bad. Jacksonville goes to Houston. Like I said earlier, I think this is a letdown game for Jacksonville. Houston should win this game pretty easily. Arizona goes to Baltimore. Wow, Baltimore, a real Jekyll and Hyde. They're not very good on the road, but they are very good at home, and Arizona isn't very good at all. Let's take the Ravens. Miami goes to New York to take on the Giants, who are coming off of a bye. Miami had their heart ripped out from them last week. I don't think they can win a game this year. Let's take New York here. The Giants, that is. New Orleans goes to St. Louis. This will be no contest. Take the Saints. Detroit's at Denver. Can God's favorite quarterback do it again 2 in a row? I think so. Why not? The Detroit Lions have lost 2 in a row. So let's take Denver at home in a bit of an upset. Washington goes to Buffalo, where Buffalo is coming off of a bye. Washington's really banged up. Buffalo is not. Let's take the Bills here. Cleveland is going to San Francisco, another team coming off the bye. Cleveland is terrible. San Francisco, you might even want to take them as your suicide pick this week. Cincinnati is coming off of bye, and they're going into Seattle. Seattle gets Tavares Jackson back, I believe, but I don't think they're good enough. Cincinnati has already won 2 games on the road this year. Let's take the Bengals. Minnesota is at Carolina. I think this is an upset here. I think Christian Ponder is so much better than what Donovan McNabb had been doing. The overall Viking team is better than Carolina. Let's take the Vikings in a bit of an upset. And I know I'm a Vikings fan. It could be a bit of a homer move, but I'm going with Minnesota. New England's at Pittsburgh. Now, Pittsburgh is a really tough out at home. They really are. It's tough for them to lose. They almost never lose at home. However, the Patriots are coming off of a bye, so Bill Belichick has got an extra week to prepare, and that's like giving him a million years. Let's take New England to win this game. The Sunday nighter has Dallas at Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia, who's coming off of a bye themselves, will squeak this one out by under a field goal, so take Philly. And the Monday nighter has San Diego going to Kansas City. I'm going to take the Chiefs in a bit of an upset there. Take Kansas City. Okay, so there are my picks. Good luck. Please subscribe to my channel and visit my website, www.footballbook.ca, and take the 30 seconds to register. We really value your opinion. For footballbook.ca, I'm Gio. Let's take the man's money.